Hey. Hey all. Man, I'm not gonna be able to see you super well tonight. This is bringing me back a little bit to 230 something nights ago when I first went online with you all. It was before I had a fancy webcam and software to do this, and I was just on my little phone. So it is good to see so many of you hanging tonight. It's an exciting night. I mean, who starts a cross-country road trip at 8:30? Not only that, but we're gonna go visit my mom in Watertown on the way out. So we are literally cutting out, headed west in the middle of the night. And it's gonna be an awesome road trip. And I'm psyched for y'all to be hanging with me. I felt a little weird because it was like, it felt a little weird to be digging into the album project on a momentous night for me. Usually when I'm having a momentous night, I want to play songs that are fitting the moment, but I was reading through the album Songs for a Movie, and man, it is a good, I think some of the spirit of the road got into that album. We recorded it on the road almost entirely, and I'm gonna just shut up and play a little bit. Recalls a time when he was not so tame. Wanted the setting sun to know his name, and he took a ride. Convalescent mind. Bought an old guitar and a rusty van. Went up north for to work the land. Yeah, he got high on a convalescent. Escaping, and you don't know why. And you need escaping the summer sky, 'cause it's a game of lost and found, lost and found. She took a fold of bills out from the cookie jar. She went down to Vegas for to play some cards, and she took a ride. Convalescent mind. She came back broke in a rope blue car. A little while though, she could have been a shooting star. Yeah, she got out. Convalescent mind. Need escaping, but you don't know why. But you need escaping in the summer sky, 'cause it's a game of lost and found, lost and found. our little worlds around. Feel the sights, taste the sound. Soon it will come crashing down. So we escape, we escape, we escape. We escaping, and we don't know why. Need escape in the summer sky. It's a game of lost and found, lost and found, lost and found, lost and found. All right. Man, you all are so small on the screen, and I only see like one comment at a time skitter by. So as I feel, unlike many nights that we get to spend together, I feel a little disconnected, which is okay. I am, as you can see, Allie and I have cleared our apartment out. It is bare bones. Look at this. Just me and a shop vac tonight. Yeah, our friend Kevin is coming over when we're gone, and he's gonna help fix this place up a little bit. And that's gonna be great. We've been kind of working with him and making a plan for almost 2 years now, something like that. And so it'll be nice to have a friend looking out for us while we're gone here. And we'll be out in the desert. We don't even know what route we're taking yet. We don't know. We just don't know. We have been so underwater. Underwater, but like, underwater and over the moon, right? We had an incredibly joyous weekend, getting married. If you all have been down that road before, you know how much of a whirlwind that can be. And then we got home, and we only had a couple days to completely clear out our living space to make room for our friend to fix this apartment of ours up. So it's been a little bit crazy. We haven't had an opportunity to think out too many things. But it felt, I had a really cool moment during that song. That first verse. That's a song called "Lost and Found," by the way, on the Songs for a Movie album. And this album was born in part. So the simplified version is that I got a call from some fellas in Los Angeles that were making an independent film, and they wanted me to write some music for that film. There was a folk musician who was going to be a character in the film, and so I was supposed to write his music, and which was what a fun, talk about a really fun project to be involved in, right? And I wrote a ton of music that was meant to score the movie and be music that folk musician was going to play in the movie. And I wrote some music for another character in the movie who is also a female folk musician. And the movie's called Folk Hero and Funny Guy. And I am not sure where you can find it these days, but not a bad movie, as it turns out. Yep. But the other part of the story that I think most people don't know is that at the time there was another movie another script that I was writing for, and this was a movie in which one of the producers was a big fan, and she wanted me to be writing for this movie, and I don't think the director was much of a fan, but it did not stop me from writing a bunch of songs. And I am trying to remember the name of the other movie. I don't know if it was ever actually released. There were some, I think there were some politics involved, and maybe the movie never ended up getting made. But my music that I wrote for that movie was rejected well before the movie was not made. So, which is humbling and really, like, you know, I think it's good. I think everybody should apply for jobs and not get those jobs sometimes, and they should have that. I think that should be their part of the resume. That's an important part, right? Some failures in there. But this next song is a song that I wrote for this other movie that didn't end up getting made, and this song did not end up getting chosen. But there was this beautiful kind of love scene between two teenagers, and they were just falling in love. It was very innocent. They were having like a picnic in a field, and they might have held hands. But you could tell from the script that they were falling in love, and so I wanted to write a song that was appropriate for that scene. So it's funny, it's a misnomer actually that the songs for the movie album is 100% about Folk Hero and Funny Guy. It actually, a bunch of those songs, some of those songs at least, were written for this other script. It was a chance for me, I think, as a writer to get out of myself. There is a weight to trying to there's a weight to everything that I do needing to represent who I am. I know it doesn't have to, and it often does not, but there's that weight there. And one of the really fun things about writing for somebody else or for something else is I can take a vacation from being the voice. Even if I'm gonna sing the song, I can take a vacation a little bit from being the voice. I don't know if that makes sense, but it is. That's a fun thing. That's a fun thing for a guy that writes a lot of songs that are all about him all the time. You said we can take these ashes from this shattered place. You held in your hand. You said if we spread them far across this barren plain, they may grow again. Both of our voices trailing out through this afternoon. Love falls in circles. We can only feel in this place before it's gone. We run, we run. Strike two. We run sometimes to keep ourselves from falling over in the darkness around. You said, close our eyes and hold each other. We can lift off this charred ground. Both of our voices trailing out through this afternoon. Love falls in circles. We can only feel in this place before it's gone. Both of our voices spinning across this ashen ground. Love falls in circles. We can only feel in this place, and then it's gone. That one was called Both of Our Voices. Both those last songs were tuned. Remember when we talked about a guitar can be tuned in what we call standard tuning, and it can be tuned in open tuning, where the strings are all different, and when you strum them, they make an open, beautiful chord. It's really fun to write songs in an open tuning, because every time you just make a strum, make a sound, there are all these strings that are ringing in the same chord in unison, and it's really fun to write songs with all these ringing open chords. You can change just a couple fingers and completely change the sound of the instrument, and it's really fun. That's a little better. But a pain in the ass to untune an open tuner. Might need you to sing with me. I was at a place called the Masquerade in Detroit. Detroit? Milwaukee. I think it was Milwaukee. There's this big, giant club. They took over from an old factory. And like on the top floor, there's a 2,000 person venue. And in the middle floor, there's a 2,000 person venue. And in the basement, there's a 2,000 person venue. So there's like, It is insane, or maybe it's 1,000 people each floor. I don't know what it was, but it was awesome. We were on tour with Rusted Root and the Wailers, and we were playing on one of the floors. We were the opening band, and it was an awesome, just a fun tour to be on, and it was an awesome night. They put all the musicians in the basement. Like not on the basement. I said there's a club on the basement. Underneath that, there's an area where they have like a series of green rooms. We talked about what a green room is, right? Backstage area where the bands can hang, and they have different complexes of green rooms for every concert that was happening. And so we were in the bowels of this old factory, right? And you walk through, and it was definitely old, and it was definitely haunted. And there were definitely like 3 different awesome concerts happening that night, and a bunch of musicians wandering this way and that through the kind of catacombs and back hallways around a club. I walked out of the green room and just followed one of these random hallways underneath the building, right? And I came upon this old empty pool. Underground, like it was just empty. It was a swimming pool. It was empty. It had been empty for years and years, right? But it was just an empty room, spooky as hell, with an empty pool underneath an old factory. And much like this room that I am in, except like multiplied by 100, right? Right? High ceilings. This was an old factory too. Can you hear when I'm talking to you? Can you hear the room sound around me? The echo, hop, hop. I know, weird for me to be doing that, but you can actually hear the sound waves that are coming out of my mouth, bouncing off walls and a high ceiling and coming back. So underneath this factory, I took my guitar and I climbed down into the pool, and it was like, it had this like awesome like whoo, and then just the sound would trail for days. It felt like whoo, 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 right? And it was bouncing around the walls of the swimming pool and the ceiling, and I just thought that was the coolest sound. So I started doing, and I just stayed on one chord. Ooh, 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 ooh. And I was just listening to that sound, right? And hearing my voice bounce back to me in a bunch of different angles and a bunch of different ways. And I couldn't stop doing it. I sat down in that pool and I kept singing. And that's where Come On Over came from. Take my hand, I'll hold on to you, my friend. Can you hear? For those of you that haven't been to a gathering before, right? The verses go like this. Take my hand, and then my bandies go, take my hand, I'll hold on to you, my friend. I'll hold on to you, my friend. Right? That was the echo of the pool, right? And it not only inspired the song, but it inspired the structure of the song. Sorry. Take my hand, take my hand. I hold on to you, my friend. This world will break the best made plans. We'll stay together. Down this road, down this road. You will share my heavy load. Where we end up, we don't know. We'll stay together, and we'll be dancing to be cemented. We'll fall down when we're done. They know that they can find us out here on the run. Come on over. Hold you close, hold you close. You're the one I need the most. From the peaks down to the coast, we'll stay together. Take my hand, take my hand. I hold on to you, my friend. Yeah. This world will break the best made plan. We'll stay together. We'll be dancing and we surrender. We'll fall down when we're done. They know they can't find us out here on the run. And we'll be dancing till we surrender. Fall down when we're done. They know they can't find us out here on the run. So come on over. Come on over. Hey, take my hand, take my hand. Hey, hey, yeah. Take my hand, take my hand. Hey, hey, yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't have a capo. Let me see if it's over here. Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back. See, I'm right here. You can still hear me, right? Are you all leaving? Oh my gosh. Well, this is gonna be interesting. I found a capo in there from about 1970. We're gonna see if this works. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, it totally doesn't work. Oh, it doesn't even come close to working. Maybe it works. It's definitely not gonna work. Maybe it'll work. This is crazy. Oh, it's working. Sort of. Well, this is one sad situation, but we're gonna do this. So, there's a scene in the movie. This is the movie that God made. Folk hero and funny guy. Now, I'm gonna give you a little more insight into why I got called to be a part of this movie. The guy that wrote the movie talented writer, a guy named Jeff Grace. I'd known Jeff Grace for years and years. Let's see. Right out of college, I was living in Chicago, playing in open mics. Jeff Grace, I met through friends. He became a buddy. He was doing stand-up comedy open mics, taking improv classes. And but he had a full-time gig in advertising, and we kind of traded notes. We were both dreamers, right? Playing in open mics and wanting to immerse ourselves in the art that inspired us. That year I took off, and I hit the road, and I started releasing music, and I've been playing music ever since. Sometimes, some days good, some days bad. Never a fairy tale story, but a pretty inspiring story. No regrets. For a while, Jeff he kept his day job for a long time. And he and I would chat every once in a while. And finally, he called me one day and he said, I think I'm gonna leave my job. I think I'm gonna go out to Los Angeles, and I think I'm gonna give things a shot. And I said, all right, man. And so he and I have enjoyed following each other's progress and careers over the years. He once got hired as a comedian to open up for a rock band, and no, I think it was even worse. I think he was hired to open up for a rapper. So he had to get up on stage in front of a crowd of people that were there to see a rap concert and deliver stand-up comedy. And he said it was a nightmare kind of a gig. So nightmarish that it inspired, like, it was funny, right? Like, it was funny, it was so bad. And so the story behind the movie Folk Hero and Funny Guy is there were two friends. One decided to be a musician, and one decided to be a comedian. In the movie, the musician achieves a lot of success. He becomes a relatively famous guy. He's doing very well for himself. The comedian, not doing so well, struggling. And the folk musician, the musician, goes to his buddy and says, well, why don't you come on tour with me? You can be my opening act on this tour. I'm just going to be doing a solo tour. And so he gets off, the folk musician gets off the tour bus, and they just do this little solo tour, the two of them in a car across the country. So it's a road tripping movie, and it is a music movie, and it's kind of a comedy movie. And there's this one scene that is inspired by a conversation that Jeff and I had. And you may see, by the way, a bunch of parallels between that character in that movie and I, right? He's a barefooted folk musician, that's for sure. So if you ever get to see that movie, you'll understand where Jeff was drawing from when he wrote that character, right? There's a scene when they're in a bar and they're arguing about something. And it's an open mic kind of a thing, and it's a night off a tour or something. They're in the back of the bar, and they're arguing, talking, hanging out at a back table, and this gal gets up onto the stage, and she starts singing a song. And it is a mesmerizing moment, right? People turn their heads, and this is what the script read, at least, right? This is where I'm reading this scene, right? The first time I'm experiencing the scene. And both of them turn their heads, and the comedian friend says, "Man, she's great," and the musician friend says, "Yeah, she's got a thing." And he goes, "What do you mean, she's got a thing?" And he said, she's got a thing. She's got a thing about her that is unique and is working, and she knows what the thing is, and she's doing the thing, and it's connecting with everybody, and it's amazing." So that conversation came from a conversation that I had with Jeff. And it's a term that we have always used in my band when somebody is clicking, when a group or a band or an artist is really doing something that is impactful and connecting. We say, "Man, they got a thing going on right now," and so they have a funny conversation, and anyways, it was a cool scene because it was based on a conversation that we'd had, and that was really cool. But I was tasked with writing the song that this gal would sing, right? And this was the song that I wrote for this gal to sing during the "She's Got a Thing" scene, and it did not end up connecting with the actress, and we ended up writing something else, I think, that she ended up singing during that scene. But this is what I pictured. I pictured her style as incredibly simple and direct and like piercing, right? This is a song called "Like an Angel." So you got to picture me as a gal on a stage during an open mic somewhere south of the Mason-Dixon, and you're watching me from a high top table in the back of a crowded bar. Some people are paying attention, some people are not paying attention, but as this gal starts singing, everybody kind of quiets down and looks over at that stage. You don't look like an angel. You don't smell like you taste. You wanna take your time. It's my time you waste. You may be a handsome stranger, but you don't look like an angel. don't look like an angel. Your skin's like flame. You could wrap me up if I were my charred remains. You may be a handsome stranger, but you don't look like an angel. How do you get through it and touch my pain, my deepest secrets? You know my game. How do you get through it and touch my pain, my deepest secrets? You know my game. You don't look like an angel. You sure don't move like a god. I can see you got feathers and wings, but your feet are clawed. You may be a handsome stranger, but you don't look like an angel. How do you get through it? Touch my pain, my deepest secrets. You know my game. How do you get through? Touch my pain, my deepest secrets. You know my game. 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 I still picture her. And of course, right? That's the way movies go. There's a script, and then the script, right, essentially gets bought and produced and interpreted, and a lot of that can be awesome, and that's what the process is, and that's what the process should be, right? But I picture, right, and the movie, that scene did not quite, it did not have the impact that it had on me when I have a very active imagination, as may not surprise you, right? So when I'm reading a scene, I am like picturing, right? Like, I knew what that bar smelled like, right? I mean, I've lived my life in those bars, playing music in those bars. And I know what it feels like when somebody's got a thing, right? Anyways. Okay. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna play a couple more songs tonight, and I know that well, you know, time to get on that road. Can you, by the way, have you been hearing? I don't know if you can hear it, but here in a city, in Chelsea, which for those of you who don't know where that is, it is squashed right up next to Boston, on the Mystic River, right across the river from Logan Airport. I'm on the third floor of an old candy factory. And Allie and I bought this place 5 years ago. How many years ago we bought this place, Allie? 6 years ago? Something like that. But when it rains, you can hear that rain coming down, hitting the side of the building, hitting the pavement underneath. Allie and I, I'm saying a lot, aren't I? Allie and I are country mice, so we like being in the desert and the woods and the mountains, on a coastline. But there's something about being in a city when it's raining that is pretty special, I think. The sounds, seeing the raindrops falling through the streetlights. The streetlights, by the way, are right at the level of our place on the third floor, and so we can look out the window when it's raining and we see those droplets falling down, and we hear them along our building and on the streets below us. And anyways, it's nice. If I can't play with my band, I might as well be accompanied by some rain. This is another song that did not make the movie, but either movie for that matter. But we had such a fun time recording it. This was more, as we were recording it, we kind of figured this was probably going to be if it was going to get used at all, it would be maybe part of the soundtrack. She says, "Settle back, darling. You look all hung down and ragged. See, you've been wondering at crossing road that runs like wine. And I remember her name. It trails out like the restless winter." She said, "Relax, breathe slow again. In the wind it blows. A little colder, a little older, and it's whispering, sleep now, soldier. You had a long day, and it looks like you need a little time. Rest your head now, close your eyes. In the morning the sun will rise. You will remember that nothing is shining like the dawn. Shining like the dawn. When I was a younger man, before the wind cut down my body, I would search for the answers as if they were written in the sky. And I remember those days before the sound of the endless river made me breathe slow again. And the wind it blows a little colder, a little older, and it's whispering, sleep now, soldier. You had a long day, and it looks like you need a little time. Rest your head now, close your eyes. In the morning the sun will rise. You will remember that nothing is shining like the dawn. Shining like the dawn. The wind will overtake take us now. It ain't about wrong and right, but it can heal before it breaks us. And a wind it rolls, and a wind it blows, and a wind it blows. A little colder, a little older, and it's whispering, sleep now, soldier. Head along, and it looks like you need a little time. Rest your head now, close your eyes. In the morning the sun will rise. You will remember that nothing is shining like the dawn, shining like the dawn, shining like the dawn. I feel like there's so many stories to all of these songs that I'm playing from this album. So many stories to making the album, some of the things we did while we were recording. I mean, we've only gotten through like 4 songs this whole damn time. So, you know what? We're gonna just take our time. We're gonna roll across the country. I'm gonna talk about where we are each night. Hopefully we'll get enough reception and we can have a decent crack at a decent gathering. And in between we'll be playing songs from songs from a movie. Yep. It's gonna be a while till I'm back in Boston. Man, I can't wait to be out in the desert with my baby, be out in the desert with my wife. How crazy is that sound? Another chapter closing, another chapter opening. Raise up your glasses. Let us drink till the wind at our backs. May it always blow steady wherever you roam. May it turn when you're ready to carry you home. May it keep you ahead of the rain. Raise up your glasses. Let us drink to the heavens above. Some say it's a glimpse of God's great design. Some say it's the signs of all things combined. May we look up and always feel wonder. Here is to us all that we see. Here's to our hearts and the air that we breathe. Here's to round good company. Here's to the drink that we share. raise up your glasses. Let us drink to this time that we have. These moments will pass lightly, come again. May our lives all burn brightly, right up to the end. May we live them with joyous abandon. Raise up your glasses. Let us drink to the end of the day. Let us drink to the word when the working is through. Let us drink one to me. Let us drink one to you. Let us drink one to those who are with us. Here is to us, and all that we see is to our hearts and the air that we breathe. Here's to around good company. Here's to the future. Here's to the past. Let us drink one down slow. Let us drink one down fast. Let us drink one as if this night is unless. Here's to the drink that we share. Oh, here's to the drink that we share. Cheers. Let's get on the road. Stay safe. Keep on looking out for one another. And I'll see you tomorrow.